You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the December 16, 2024 meeting of Long Beach Advisory Plan Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening. It is December 16th, 2024. This is the Advisory Plan Commission meeting. It is 7:00 p.m. and our meeting is about to start. Diana, would you like to do a call to order, please?
Roll call or call order.
Oh, no, I did do call. Never mind. You know, one of these days I'm going to get it together. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance, everybody. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you for the Pledge of Allegiance. Diana, would you like to move on to roll call, please?
Ken Bartlett, here. Jim Diener, here. Diana Holt, I'm here. Matt Freshman, here. Seth McCormick,
Here.
Anita Rogers,
Here.
and Attorney Chris Woolman.
Here.
We're all here.
Approval of the minutes from the October 21st, 2024 meeting. There was no meeting for November. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make the motion.
I second.
Thank you. We have to vote. Oh, I have to say like, and all approved, all in favor.
Aye.
Thanks, Kendra. There is no old business and we will move on to new business. I'll just give a little background. A former council member came to me to talk about a boat in in a resident's backyard. Seth, did you want to, that was all the information I had. Seth, you had a little bit more information. Do we even need to know that or just that?
No, I mean, I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm more than happy to explain where I'm, like, the information that I have related to a request for an extension of the variance is not yet before the BZA, but we were told it was coming. And so I just had a question if that was related to this. I'm not even sure what the current proposal is.
and that was more information than I had, so, and then when I found out it was, apparently there was a 10-year.
Yeah, I mean, I can explain that if that's what you would.
Yeah, I mean, just, it might be helpful to
Sure.
why we are here today,
Okay, so,
because I didn't have that.
in 2014, a 10-year variance was granted to a homeowner to store a boat in his side yard. And I mean, there were findings of facts that were entered at the time related to whether or not he qualified for the variance. Apparently it was a passion project and he was creating the boat. We couldn't really see it from the side yard. I don't know if that's changed. The petition has not come before the BZA, that we're not considering it. But there was some indication from the town that in the event that this variance was extended, and the request was for a lifetime extension, there was some concern within the town that there has been a fair amount of parking of boats and other types of vehicles in front yards and side yards and driveways and things of that nature, that the police department has been politely requesting that the homeowners move And to a large extent, that those requests have been complied with. And there was some concern that if this specific variance was extended, or given lifetime variance, that we would see, a large number of requests for variance at the BZA. Again, I have not done any research on it, including that petition, because it is not yet before us. But I assume that that's why this was before us today, but I understand that may not be true.
And that it came from someone who serves on, who had knowledge that this person was supposedly coming to BZA, but then they never did.
Well, I mean, the information that we had came directly from Chief Swistek.
Yeah, yours did, right. Mine came from somebody else. And so anyhow, so it never went to BZA, but I was just going to let it go. And then it came up that let's just have the meeting and discuss, particularly F, which deals with outdoor storage of recreational vehicles, including campers, trailers of any type, boats, personal watercraft in the front or side yards. I do know a couple people that park their RVs in their front yards, just while they get it ready or when they come home and unpacking it. And both of these people have mentioned when it's there for a few days too long, they'll get a phone call or something from the police department. It's all very polite, like, okay, it's time to move it. So that's why we're here again, BZA has not heard anything about extending the variance or anything like that.
Well, I'll jump in if I can. There's a little bit more to that. Bob LeMay, the former president and on the building commission, asked that we look at, in discussion because of what Seth said, it's becoming more and more common that we look at the ordinance as it sits now. It's actually J, not F. I don't know on this agenda where it was made, but it's actually number J. So I brought copies here to pass it down.
So the information I got directly from Bob was F. So that's where we now have 3 people and 3 stories.
Well, it stops right here. It's just the last 4.
Oh, I get
J, G, H,
Okay.
I, and J are cut off. So whoever,
Got it.
I sent this to Joy. Bob LeMay sent you something different, because I sent this to Joel.
Because that doesn't match up.
Okay.
Not here since outdoor storage, recreational vehicles, not here since barbecue.
Okay,
All right.
Something off.
well,
Okay.
Bob asked me to make sure, or Bob asked this to be discussed, and
But
I'm,
the different code provisions, one is specifically permitted and one's use is not permitted.
yeah.
The
So
ones we're not in.
to make it super simple, it's just the request has been to discuss, not allowing boats no more than 30 feet in backyards either. That's it. That right now it kind of reads that, well, it does read, that you can store those in the rear. And his feeling was, and I tend to agree, we should just make it cleaner, no boats, front yard, side yard, backyard, whatever, just none, to help, make it simple for residents, make it simple for BZA, for the police, just, there should not be, so that's really all it is that we do think that this is gonna become more common because there are more summer people, seems like everybody has a couple of jet skis or trailers or boats or whatever. And even though there is a definition of what the back of a rear of a house is, the way the lot lines are, a lot of the people, there are more than a few rear yards that actually face other people's houses. Just because the way the streets go, we're not in a linear pattern here, the way Long Beach is set up. So I'm bringing this forth for discussion because I just think it's cleaner. I don't think it's a good look at all. It's not, I wouldn't consider anyone, a hardship that you can't have we have a boat and 2 jet skis and all that and pay for storage. So we don't have a rear yard, but if we did have a rear yard and stored it, my neighbors, that's what they would look at all day. And I would not do that to them because the way their houses sit on Lakeshore Drive, that's where their patios are and that's where they hang out. But if I chose the way the ordinance reads now, if I had room in my backyard to store my boat, I could. And that's what they would get to look at all day. So I'm just bringing this up for discussion my thought would be to make it cleaner. And that's why you'll see my handwriting there where I scratched that out, because I had this highlighted. So we could just do something along the lines of is not allowed.
That, I don't, I mean, you can't, I don't think that's the solution. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just talking about the language. 'Cause this would be, these are things that are permitted. You're not going to.
Okay, yeah. That's what.
Yeah,
So is your proposal to make it so no recreational vehicles, boats, or camping trailers of any length are allowed in backyards at all?
well, I'm not opposed to like a small, like a jet ski trailer or even a camping trailer, because they sit sort of low to the ground, but there are a couple of houses like on, Chesterton right now, that red house at the top of the hill, especially when the trees are gone. You can see there's like 2 boats back there, there's a couple trailers, there's a camper. I mean, it's not a good look, and I just think it should be a cleaner definition for all around, but I'm not opposed to like a small, but I don't know how to define that, or if we want to, like something that would sit low to the ground. You know, once a boat's removed from a trailer and the trailer only sits then like 3 feet off the ground. That's not as visually obnoxious to me as, you know, a 30-foot boat sitting in someone's driveway.
I think something you guys have to consider is those charged for doing this day to day, and yes, they get compensated well and it's there, but we start doing that and having them walk, tape measures, and it's gonna be difficult. I'm not saying there isn't a
Yeah.
way, but, you know, we need people to start, having some, maybe they have to have some shielding, right? Some buffers, some vegetate, whatever that block site too, right? For instance, and not exactly the same, but solar panels, right? Part of the things of where we're supposed to be is to try to buffer than other people not being able to see them, so.
But like, for example, there's a home down on the way when I walk my dog, and they have probably something that's in, the, what do you want to call it, illegal or whatever. Now, I don't care. I'm not going after them, but I'm saying they have a boat, but then they put up a black tent over it. So that would not be sufficient to me.
Sure.
So I welcome just discussion and then, yeah, legal input on what to make it easy if we do decide what, maybe talk to Mark, what they would want to do. Cause I agree, I don't think anyone should be in people's yards. I'm not trying to, you know, like a little jet ski trailer is pretty small and not probably that offensive, but yeah, is that just gonna make it more complicated to allow something small and not the big stuff?
And I'm not advocating for completely, but there are plenty of communities from small HOAs to larger that just don't allow it.
Right.
I'm not saying they go that path, but it may be that's what you want your community to be, is there are none.
Right.
No storage. You don't get to have them there.
And I did
I'm not
talk,
advocating for that, but you know, that's.
Yeah.
I did talk to Chief Swistek, and, you know, I mean, then there is the issue of whose driveway are we driving up to see what's in the backyard? Do you wait to get complaints from residents? And is this because of one person that we're going to then again change an ordinance, you know, completely to ban it when it hasn't been a problem? He hasn't had any complaints, so.
But it's
anyway,
not even
sorry.
one person, because it's not come up yet. This issue is not in front of the BZA. The one Seth is referring to is in a side yard. He's in, I guess he did have to get, he had to get the variance because,
It was in a second.
and it was over 30 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, I don't welcome input from chief or whoever, or you guys, what do you think?
I have a question. So this sheet that you passed out, this is permitted,
Yeah,
other than J, you highlighted, we can mention.
right, but I guess I was, however, it would need to work correctly legally, because under permitted, it probably shouldn't say is not allowed. So if it's permitted, this whole thing should just be removed. Like if it's permitted accessory uses and structures, I guess J would just come out altogether and that would solve the problem.
And you would change the language up top, right? So there's 2 different sections here, and so the one that's on the agenda is one section, those are prohibited.
Yeah,
And then the second section under J has what is permissible if. And you could take it out of the permissible part and change the definition in 049 to say no storage, not even side, back, front, on top, whatever.
So the question would be, how restricted do we wish to be?
Does,
You mentioned HOAs. There's a difference. An HOA, typically, if you buy into that community, you have to adhere to those HOA rules. Or you can choose not to buy into the community. Here, we're already in a leisure type community. People do have boats and watercraft, and not everyone is large garage to be able to put them in. Everything is somewhere else. And I homes, not having them sit in the front row side of, you know, one's backyard should be somewhat sacrosanct to being able to do legal activity.
I mean, if nobody's, my thing is, if it's something somebody's complaining about, then chief, I think he handles these things excellent, all, you know, as it goes. I don't know about, I'm not really for telling people what to do with their yard, to be honest with you. This guy that has his boat there, I know he built the boat himself, and it is in his side yard. I'm not sure how big it is exactly, but from what I understand, nobody's complaining about it. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I will add, there was 10 years ago when that variance was approved, this room was packed. It was very similar to the BZA for the liquor store. There was a lot of people against it. I was particularly against it because if he gets a variance, I'm applying. I mean, we pay $4,000 to store our stuff. We have a side yard. I'm gonna put my boat and my 2 jet skis there then. And I think a lot of people,
Please hand it to fire. Who else would donate?
yeah, there's another one that contacted Mark and asked, how do they contact the BZA? Because how do they get a variance? Yeah. And there's so many there's so many homes that are 50% part-time now. If you told everyone, you don't have to pay for storage anymore, your house sits empty from, you know, October to May, you can quit that lease at B&E Marina and park all your stuff in your front yard, side yard, that it would open up and it would look like.
That's not really exciting.
The thing is, we're talking about two different things.
Yeah.
We're worried about a bunch of variance requests because there's a petition that may or may not get filed to extend the variance for something that's going in a 5-yard. And in reaction to that, we're talking about changing something that can go in somebody's backyard that's already permitted if it qualifies under what the standard is. And I mean, I mean, you can tell where this ordinance just passed in 2002. So for 22 years, people have been able to store this stuff in their backyards. We talk about getting more variance requests, like request to grandfather in and, you know, request for variance. So be concerned with the number of variance requests. I don't think that this is, you know, it's not germane, and I'm kind of sorry to bring it up, but. But yeah, sorry, I had to stop to call. But, you know, the door's open. I just don't, you know, I don't know how we're gonna go about telling people that they can't park their boat that's been there for 20 years anymore in their backyard. I'm concerned about the reaction.
I agree with you, and with what Matt said earlier. I think we might be trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist, at least yet, you know, and I have a really hard time, and I'm reluctant to start down the slippery slope. It starts when you start telling people to put in their backyard and things like that. And especially since we don't really seem to have an issue right now. So, I mean, I would be inclined to not make changes, but I did.
Okay, well, then I'm the only one, we'll just move on.
Well, I guess, we've opened the discussion, let's discuss it. I mean, what was the concern from Bob or people on the building commission related specifically to the backyard versus side yardage?
Well, in particular, that red house on the top of the hill that has like 4 big things back there, a camper, a trailer, a boat, stuff covered in tarps. And then just to make it cleaner, simpler, like Chris was saying, just, certain communities, just, you can't do it. And cut down any, confusion for the police or anything like that, but it isn't a problem yet. It could be. There, again, I think the whole thought is to hope that we get ahead of things and don't end up in situations because now it's a problem and now the ordinance didn't read that way, and so now we're stuck with it or whatever. It's just like, this could be a problem. Should we change it? Yes or no? And then that's fine. You know, not, I don't agree. I don't think we should ever start sentences with, well, we haven't had a problem yet, no one's complaining, so let's not do anything.
No, I agree. But right now but right now you're saying, like a discrete issue that's now a known issue because it's winter. And so, but maybe that specific house is not within the spirit of the existing statute, and that should be explored. Or is it a sign of something to come, in which case it should be addressed? And I'm just not,
And we could talk about the number of items. I mean, if this guy's got, boats and RVs, and that could be something we discuss.
So that house, he's been working on that house for a number of years. He seems to be very friendly when I talk to him about what he's doing, and it is much more noticeable now. I drove by with Diana the other day. I mean, I notice it's there, but is that just a discussion that maybe Chief Swistek has? Or as you mentioned, Chris, maybe can you put up a little bit of fencing or something that, again, I don't know if Chief can go and talk to him and say, can you do anything? Because there isn't anything that says, it just so happens that it's winter and it's up on the hill and you're coming around the corner and you notice it. I don't know what's up there. I just notice things are up there. I don't stop enough to look. So.
Yeah, either way, and, the way that the code is currently written, if someone's not allowed to do something, they get to ask for a variance, right? And then they have to meet the legal threshold. I will say that I think current versions of BZA probably pay attention a little bit more to the actual requirements, versus not. So I think people are probably hard pressed to get a variance to ask for something like this, frankly. But who knows what people come up with? People are creative.
And we could change the wording and just talk about height of it, because something 30 foot long is pretty decent. I mean, you could have an RV and a boat or two, one could be gaudy and then you could tweak the verbiage to, account for things that are tall and gaudy looking.
I mean, you could also make it a single recreational vehicle, boat or camping trailer of no more than 30 feet. But I mean, you've got the setback requirements. You've got the possibility that you could request that they shield it somehow, using, natural, I can't remember what you call it, but screening. I mean, all those, the part of that's just part about being a good neighbor. Do we make a law about it? I don't know. I think it merits discussion. I just don't. I don't know that we need to, I don't think it needs to go from, allowed to completely disallowed based on a single situation of somebody just being maybe a bad neighbor in terms of visibility of the property with the stuff they're storing there. Or maybe not a bad neighbor, a flawless neighbor. But I don't want to just dismiss it out of hand either. So is there tweaking that we could do by making it a single, like one, and then it can't be seen from neighboring properties or something like that? I don't know if that is worth it or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm still in my wish or whatever would still just be make it clean and just say no. And if it's a true hardship, then they come to the BZA and these one-offs do or do not get approved. But if that's not, I think I'm the only one that feels that way. So
We could say no, then start complaining about people that they find out that there's a rule about, you like calling out someone's canoe, you know, and there's paddle boards and canoes all over. They're everywhere, on the side and backs, and they're everywhere. I just think they're opening up, possibly opening up, and they may not, you know.
I think you're right about that. My neighbors on Oakenwald, their paddleboard, you know, I walk by their paddleboards all the time, but this goes back to even building commission where, you know, you want to prohibit parking and it's months and months of what exactly do you prohibit? So how do you prohibit a 30-foot boat? What if your boat is 30 feet and, you know, an inch or something? I think we could spend, you know, 6 months talking about what exactly are we going to prohibit when, again, it goes to that there's nothing pending before BZA for any variance. There aren't any complaints or problems that I'm aware of, and that is my comment.
Okay, I'm just gonna withdraw, but I'm just gonna reiterate again, waiting for complaints and problems and trying to fix them on the back half is not the way we should be looking at things. But I'll talk to chief maybe or something, but I mean, it's fine. I brought it up, Bob asked me to, I was in agreement, but everybody's spoken, so I think we'll just remove this from the agenda. Or, you know, we don't need to roll it over until old
Okay.
business.
Well,
Ongoing
yeah.
business, I mean.
That's what my thought would be, I mean, if you want to talk to chief and you want to get kind of, if Bob LeMay is aware of some other issue, or chief is having a problem distinguishing between front and side yard, or this seems to be an issue, I think we can revisit it.
Okay, yeah.
I'd love to know if there's more than it's.
As I said,
I agree. I mean,
I did talk to chief, but Kendra, I'm happy to talk to him as well, or, you know, you want to talk to him, but as I said, just this one issue, we had 3 different separate discussions with Bob LeMay, 2 discussions, chief, Seth had discussions with different people, and it's a matter of, you know, I mean, every discussion had different portions to it and different aspects to it. So if that's where we want to go with it, and if anybody wants to bring anything back, then do we have to take any, we don't have to take any kind of vote. It was just a discussion. And for the time being now, we've decided not to change anything in the permitted accessory uses or the
Yeah, just as a reminder, you know, changes to zoning code can be initiated here, and they can be initiated from the town council as well. There's procedures back and forth, and yeah, at some point, it's still good to talk about all of these.
It is. And I will, let Bob know that, thank you for bringing this here. And if anyone has anything else, this was our only new
I
business.
do have one other thing, don't hate me, but this came up again, it was too late to add to the agenda, but I'm gonna bring it up for the town council too and back to the APC, so. This is, yeah, you can take one and pass it down, please. So this is the zoning restrictions and just in general for Long Beach, so single family, you'll see on the left column, single family on Lake Shore Drive is different, single family in St. Lawrence Avenue, hidden shores, and then local business. The concern was brought to my attention, and I think this is definitely something we want to look at in light of the property being for sale right now over at Hacienda, but there is no setback requirements right now for local businesses, which means there was a liquor store in front of the BZA last week and it was denied, but if that would have been approved, they could have put that right up against the golf course, right up against the last lot line from that home in Hidden Shores that's behind Hacienda and then is close to the property line going in the south. So,
That's for sale, this property.
yeah, so I think that we should look at, as well as the town council and the building commission, and this came from the building commission too, that the local business should have the same setbacks as everybody else with the rear setbacks. I mean, not as everybody, but whether that be the single family, the 30 feet front, 10 feet from the side, 10 feet from the rear. I mean, right now, the local businesses are just read none, which means that's literally that store, whatever comes in there, if that property sells and something new gets built there, that can go right up onto the golf course. There's no buffer. And so that's not in the best interest of the town. So, like Chris said, we can start it here. And then I'm gonna also bring it to the council in January, because I think, we should move on this quicker rather than later, because that property could sell at any moment. And then if it's not in our ordinance, we're out of luck.
And
So thank you for bringing this, but it was too late to go on the agenda, and I feel like we're looking at the same things, but it's now put on the agenda when it wasn't on the agenda, and this did come to me as well. And it was too late to go on the agenda and too late to notify people, so I appreciate you saying here, this is something else. I think it would be something that I would feel more comfortable looking into, which setbacks are where, instead of just word of mouth. So I appreciate that. And if anyone has any comments on it, we can add it to the January agenda. And that way maybe everybody can look into it a little bit more, or look into different setbacks.
If I may.
Sure.
So there's a chance with the construction of the Hacienda building and
Mm-hmm.
strip complex. And by being a member of the Hidden Shores HOA, back in the day, we petitioned against some of what occurred there. Parking is an issue, and so any further mission to have a conversation with these areas with respect to this last thing here.
we can
I believe the sentence comment regarding that. But
maybe see.
before anybody allows any more building of any sort, I mean, I think someone needs to go back and look at what did occur after the Hacienda building of Garden.
Mm-hmm.
And this replacement building in Rapid. And that second building, there was no second building previously. So, and the second building was actually, to most of the people in the Hidden Shores area, we never loved that building in general. As we drive into what we think is our nice neighborhood, we're seeing the back of the stairwell. Yeah, yeah, and there's no landscape, and even that area, but you put a little landscaping so they don't have to look at your back door or anything else. So, which is never. But parking is an issue. To add another business or another building, take away some parking, and or even if it doesn't take parking away, but if it adds more potential customers. Because I can tell you, maybe you've seen it, on Friday, Saturday nights in the summertime, there's people parked on the street. I mean, there's not enough parking for the businesses that are there now.
Well, I think the restrictions would be that regardless of, for instance, let's just look at that petition and what they wanted to do. Doesn't mean even if it were granted, they'd be able to, because there are zoning restrictions. But one thing that the council may want to consider is to put a moratorium on any local business designation. Put a moratorium for a period of time, and gives you the opportunity that you're not granting any permits in that zoning district, to give you the opportunity to review and consider some things and, make sure that everything's in line. And it's looking through that, it's not that you have much business, but it's kind of bizarre that there aren't that requirements. But again, it didn't happen very often, and so you did something very serious.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that this should be brought, I also think it should be brought properly, like I think we're required to disclose to the public what we're about to discuss. So I'm all on board for this, but should we?
Well, I think,
Well, we're not-
oh, yeah, I can bring it up.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, just for next.
Single family home, what about somebody wanting to buy and build a house out of it?
No,
You can't, it's on commercial.
Yeah, they would have to, they would either have to be rezoned, they get it all.
Right.
Or if it, there was also discussion of, do you want to change the zoning of that altogether and make it residential, for instance, and then subject to whatever's there is grandfathered in until it's not used anymore. It's not a big one. No,
All right, so it will either you know, Kendra, I guess it depends on, I mean, I'm gonna handle it a different way with Chris and Joy, and then if you want to handle it a different way with, council, feel free, and we're going to discuss it, and I will plan right now to put it on the APC agenda for January in the event that that's the way it goes. Otherwise, any other comments? I don't think, we have anything else. No other new business, no other comments, any public comments? Anybody on Zoom? Michelle, anything? Seth, you made a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
All in favor? Thank you. Meeting adjourned at 7:35.